Namaskara. My name is Janani Prakaash. I am a HR professional with close to 15 years of corporate experience and I work in an organization. I'm also a student of music, both vocal and veena, and has been a mother for 6 years now. What I want to bring to you today is some of the lessons that I have learned as a student of music and how have I been able to apply those lessons in corporate. So let me present to you the journey of a music student right from the time one starts learning music to moving to starting to do smaller performances with a group of people and then reaching a stage of being a leading artist. Very similar is a parallel if I have to draw it for people's journeys in organizations. Everyone joins from college and then they have a journey of growing up at some stage, starting to lead a team and then becoming a leader. So as you can see, both of these are very similar in track. The learnings are definitely transferable from music to corporate. So since I spoke about the journey, I'm also going to keep the learning in a journey manner. So let's say you're starting to learn music. The first thing that you're told by your teacher is to continuously practice until you get it. And then you get it, at some stage you lose it because you don't practice. Again, you will have to continue to do it, which means the biggest thing that any learner of music can get is persistence, and persistence comes over a period of patience and perseverance. So very similar is one's life when they begin as a corporate professional too. In the beginning, you're really stumbling with how do I start working in this new environment? How do I build myself a name here? How do I learn to do the job basically? In fact, gaining name comes later. So at a certain stage, persistence, if you're a learner of music, definitely it's easier for transitioning into corporate too, because you have somewhere learned patience, perseverance, persistence, everything as part of your music journey, and therefore you can accelerate your adaptability in organizations quickly. If you have not, then it's okay, but then typically that's the first stage. Moving on to the next one, once you start singing to a certain stage, your teacher gives you an opportunity to perform in front of people, be it singing or an instrument. When you first have to perform in front of people, there is definitely a sense of anxiety, nervousness, and over a period of time, you gain confidence. You start to understand your audience, and basically, you shed that fear and inhibition to get in front of people and perform. Very similar is in corporate again. Over 2-3 years of experience or 4 years of experience, you start gaining expertise in a certain area. You may start doing knowledge transitions to somebody in your team, or you may start doing orientations for new members, or you can also be doing small learning programs. Again, if you have been in front of people through music, it's just easier for you to get in front of people and speak too. That way it's transferable too, from a skill perspective. But then that's the classic parallel I can draw in the second stage of career and as a second stage of learner, second stage of being a learner in music. Moving on is you now becoming a much learned music student. I'll still not call someone as a musician, but you start performing in a group with a few people accompanying you. Let's say you're a vocalist. You will have someone playing the mridangam. Someone will be a violinist next to you. There may be a ghatam artist. Now, what happens without being spoken about actively in this in the situation is you learn teamwork. You learn when to pause. You learn when to give people their time and their space. You also learn to understand others' point of views, especially in times of rehearsals. More than anything, while you're on the stage, you listen to respond. Sometimes the jugalbandis happen very actively on the stage, and those are not pre-planned. They just happen, and therefore you have to very intently listen to your co-artists. Now, again, drawing a parallel to corporate, all these will be very important in team setups. And being in corporate for many years, I have found people struggling in teamwork. And I've also seen people who have been in sports or music or something where they have been part of teams earlier in their life, have been able to adapt easily in a team setup. Their ability to sit back and reflect, or their ability to listen to others, ability to include any different kind of point of views becomes much more easier in a corporate setup if they have followed an art, or if they have been part of an art or a sports school in their growing up years. You can always start even now, right? So basically that's again the next stage. And eventually it becomes imperative if you're going to lead teams. And you will have to be a listener. You should become open to any kind of point of views. And music just gives it very naturally if you're a learner of music. The next aspect that I would want to touch about is self-awareness. Now, when you are performing on the stage as a musician now in this stage, which means you have evolved, you have done few performances, you are slowly becoming known, and at that stage you are now a musician, you're a performing artist. It's very important to know and observe what you're singing and how you're singing, or whatever instrument you're playing, right? It's also important to know how your audience is actually receiving you. If there are if your audience is actually not responding to a certain genre, how do you quickly change what you have planned for the day becomes important. That's self-awareness in a musical sense. But if you look at corporate, it becomes a very, very important aspect that gets spoken about in leadership. As a leader, now again, if you see the transition is you have become a leader, or you're a manager, you're extremely seasoned. You need to know how you are conducting yourself. You need to know how others are perceiving you. Very similar to a musician's journey. Now, if you have already been into music, it's just easier for you to transpose some of the learnings from there to here. But it is important. Self-awareness is a very important leadership trait in the industry that we are in today, and therefore it's definitely an aspect that is spoken of. It becomes natural and easier if you have been part of music school earlier, or if you have had a journey of becoming a musician in the past. Moving on to the last aspect that I would want to touch upon is being a lifelong learner. In corporate, I'll come to corporate in a minute. In music, if you talk to anybody who has been in music for several years, by virtue of coming from a family of musicians, I have had the opportunity to interact with a lot of musicians through my life. And even if they are in their 70s, they say, I know very little. Probably I know 1 or 2 drops of the ocean. The rest is yet to be uncovered or yet to be learned. And that attitude is so much deeply seeped into a musician, because music is certainly very vast. It is an ocean, as they say, and many people continue to say that it takes lifetimes for you to know what music is and how much is the depth and breadth of music. So music invariably makes you get into the mindset of being a lifelong learner. In corporate, this becomes a little trickier, After you reach a certain stage of your career, be it 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, many people get to a place of I have arrived. But I think the current times are also a great reminder to say you've never arrived. You're just constantly evolving because changes are happening around all the time, and you have no option but to adapt yourself and learn to be relevant in the new context. And it is becoming a big reminder for people in corporate that yes, I have never reached a place and I can never call it arrived. It is a continuous journey, and it is easier if you have been a music learner in the past. And it's just natural to you saying, okay, I have learned so many and I have learned only so much. I still have a long way to go. And that way, if I have to quickly summarize the major points that I just called out, the first is perseverance, which includes persistence as well as patience. The second lesson is confidence. The third one is teamwork. The fourth is self awareness. And fifth is being a lifelong learner. I think music definitely offers all of these at your age, at any age of yours. Like you could be, in school or college, or you could be a working professional or a non-working person. It is definitely okay to be in any stage, and it's also okay to start at any time. So I would highly urge you to learn music as an instrument, or learn vocal, because there are a lot of skills that you learn without your own knowledge, but these are definitely transferable skills, and they will help you a lot as you move along in any field and try to achieve any milestone that you have aimed yourself for. Thank you so much, Meenakshi ma'am, for this opportunity to speak. And also, you have given me an opportunity to sing two songs. I've sung those, and I request all the audience to please listen to me. Thank you so much. Namaskar.